TV.
Starladder fall! Lakewood are doing it! They're gonna take it! Gonna bring down Burning! Alone with a double kill! Dropping fast! Final point there! He's still alive! Wait 2 seconds, mate! He's got 1 left! He's got a second! He's taking it up! Oh my god! On 3! They're all dead!
And we're back for what has to be the biggest game and the last game in Starladder Season 10, the C Division in the group stages, a match between Johnny's Revenge going toe-to-toe against the Interactive Philippines squad, also known as Execration. If Execration win this match, they will win their ticket to Kiev, Ukraine, to go into the Starladder LAN. And for Johnny's Revenge, if they win this one, we will have a 3-way tiebreaker session between these two teams and Titan as well. Bringing you the coverage is Beyond the Summit. I'm Coddle Guy, but joining me is Gods. David, how you doing, my friend? Are you excited about this matchup?
Remaining.
I'm excited. Deciding match, new patch. We're going to see what these teams have to come up with here in this kind of do-or-die situation, at least for Johnny's Revenge. And this is probably one of the biggest matches for a lot of the players on Execration's career. Like, to go to a LAN event like Starladder, $250,000 up for grabs, and even if you don't get the best result there, you're still walking away with prize money. So this is some game-changing stuff for some of these players.
And definitely going to be a test of nerves here, as it's only going to be one match. Take it all. This is not going to be a best of 3 to get your way over there. It's going to come down to 1, and it's all about convenient timing from Valve and Ice Frog to drop a big patch right up before the time, because the last time both these teams played, they didn't have the luxury of already having one ring in for the 6.83, I believe, right? The last time Interactive Philippines did play, they did go toe-to-toe against Arrow, and they did stomp them significantly. Johnny's Revenge came off of a loss against Titan, but we're sporting a very nice 6-game win streak just before that. As far as standings currently go, in this, as I bring it up, get it right here. All right, it is Execration well in the front, sporting a 9-1 record. Titan is just behind them with a 9-2 record, and Johnny's Revenge has an 8-2 record. So obviously, we could potentially have 9-2 across the board, or with the win, Execration do seal the deal on this whole group stage event. But let's go ahead and hop into the draft itself here. For Johnny's Revenge, they grab up Venomancer and Brewmaster as their first 1-2 punch. And for the Execration, they get Viper and Skywrath Mage. This is feeling very somewhat 6.81-esque, I'd say, Gods.
Yeah, I think that's the way to go. In such a big match, teams want to go with what they're comfortable with. Even though some of these things got slightly nerfed, I think the Viper nerf is really pretty negligible. The actual corrosive skin, sure, it's not going to proc from really long distances, but most fights and most of your kind of pushes it's not going to affect. The mech nerf hurts Viper a little bit because of his mana pool, but I think Viper is still very strong of a hero. So the more interesting pick is Johnny's Revenge do get the Venomancer, and he got... How did he get changed?
I can bring it up right here in a swift second. I try my best to conveniently have the patch notes available in just a situation. If I type in Venomancer right here, we'll see that Poison Nova applies its debuff on spell immune enemies now. Interesting enough.
Okay.
It still does not deal damage, though, due to its damage type.
Yeah.
So
it's still nice because it actually, you get the BKB is only going to last so long, and the Poison Nova lasts a very long time. A full 16 seconds with an Aghanim Scepter at level 3, or 15 seconds without, so you're still going to get a good chunk of damage after the BKBs wear off. And it means you just can't dodge it, I guess.
And I had the opportunity to meet Winter firsthand. He's a nice gentleman, so I'm not going to try to doubt his drafting skills a whole lot here. And so, as he
if it was rude to you, you'd be criticizing his draft all over.
Yeah, well, if they lose, I'll have something to say to him next time I see him. So we'll see how he decides to go as he does build up a little extra pose, and we'll see if he decides to do some sort of dot theme lineup here. But Brewmaster, is a hero that's been very persistent in how stable he's become. As far as being tweaked in this recent patch, nothing too crazy. Primal Split, the Earth Spirit's pulverized damage type from Magical that pierces spell immunity to to magical, it says. No longer pierces smell immunity. That was a bit of a word jumble on how they put that in the patch notes, but that's how it is. Third pick, though, is going to be the Wisp, which we have been seeing more of. We talked about it briefly in the last game. A prominent, great support hero who not only aids as such a fantastic babysitter, but also a primary bottle holder. And with that extra rune, can really take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, the Wisp Brewmaster not really a combo of any sort, but I think Wisp you can just kind of put in the mid lane with whoever if you want to, and have just control the runes for your team. So, pretty flexible pick for Johnny's Revenge. They don't have to go for that Wisp Tiny or whatever it may be. The Wisp CK. CK receives a new little buff, although still doesn't seem particularly strong. But for now, we're going to see a Faceless Void pick up from the IAP side, and well, it's very 6.81. We got your Void Skywrath with a Viper mixed in. This is as 6.81 as it gets.
Yeah, and it's like you said, for such an important match, you need to go with something that you feel absolutely comfortable with, even if they were nerfed a bit. If you are curious, the people watching, what the nerfs that did come in for Faceless Void, Chronosphere area effect has been reduced from 450 to 425, but also Chronosphere's flying vision area reduced from 1,000 to 425. So this means if you put down the Chronosphere and you catch an enemy rather, maybe on the edge of it, and they're in the fog, you might not even be able to see them, so it can be a little tricky there. It no longer also disables passives, so these are some relatively big changes for heroes that do have passives, like Brewmaster does, where he has a little bit of extra evasion, so that's not going to be taken away now from the Chronosphere Ultimate, but still it does, have the synergy with Skywrath Mage. You drop down, you get a good fit, Chrono there, and he follows it up with a fantastic Mystic Flare, and you got some heavy burst coming your way. On the side of Johnny's Revenge, they do get the Wisp Tony combo, something I haven't seen yet in the recent patch here. I know these two heroes actually were not touched whatsoever in the most recent patch.
Yeah, it's one of those combos which is still really good, but most teams have just been going for the Wisp plus something else. Even like Team Secret been doing a lot of Wisp, but rarely with anything like a Tiny. And it's definitely your kind of bread and butter, your traditional Wisp combo. And looking forward to see how Johnny's Revenge look to execute this. I don't believe they've been doing that much Wisp Tiny, so something maybe a little bit different that they still feel is very strong in this current patch. Queen of Pain, though, for IAP. This is, I think, one of my favorite heroes to watch. Queen of Pain, partly because the player I've watched play this hero so much is Mushi, who, when you're watching this guy play Queen of Pain, it's a lot of fun to watch. But even so, I've definitely grown a love for this hero.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of these kind of heroes. It is unfortunate in the recent meta that some of these heroes just don't get to shine as much as they used to in past days. Your Dendi, even Queen of Pain, the Pucks in the mid lane, these flashy kind of snowball mid lane heroes just kind of fell off the wayside, it seemed, for a little while, as it became more apparent that people wanted to do your Death Prophets, your Dragon Knights, even your Nagas or what have you, more core-oriented mid heroes. And, we don't get to see those flashy mid lane styles, real bottle control, elusiveness, that we've come to love. But, things are starting to change, and we might see him come back slowly. Queen of Pain in particular, her base attack time has been improved from 1.7 to 1.6. And for a hero that already had a very nice attack, this is going to make things really, really nice for him as far as, getting those last hits in early. And what looked potentially is what could have been a Viper mid lane. Now with the Queen of Pain being there, they can be a lot more elusive, because I would imagine that JR are going to be running with the Wisp Tony in the mid lane, and you don't want to get caught out quickly with these two. You'll be bursted down promptly. So
yeah, I wonder if IAP may be considering doing a kind of dual lane of their own against it, but with Viper Quap, it kind of pushes Void into the off lane, which means he's not necessarily getting a lot of farm, but you mentioned the combo with the Skywrath Mage. You don't need a lot of farm in this Void, and I think with the nerfs, it's almost makes more sense to be running him as an offlane and getting heroes that synergize with the Chronosphere. In this case, the Queen of Pain Sonic Wave, the Mystic Flare of the Skywrath Mage, a lot of range damage and nukes that can be thrown into a Chronosphere right now. So the Void, even if he doesn't get farm this game, can still have big teamfight impact just with the Chronosphere.
That's true. I mean, for both of these lineups, it's anyone's guess as far as where the laning setup's going to be. I mean, you got Brew, Wisp Tiny, and Puck. Any of these heroes could be ran in the mid lane together in some sort of fashion. You could also see Puck, of course, played in that off lane. They could do the safe lane Brew, or they could even put Tiny instead into his own devices in that safe lane. Same goes for IAP. I mean, Viper originally I thought would be their mid lane setup, and now with Queen of Pain on the deck, things could be changed for them. For both teams, though, this means that they're going to have to keep on guessing as far as what the matchups are going to be. This also leads me to believe that some of these teams might consider doing their early smoke, early rotations, and just kind of get as much information as possible as how the lane setups are going to go, and then maybe call an audible and adjust the lanes accordingly.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing, is trying to predict what your opponent's lanes are going to be. If you can find out where they're going to send like a solo offlaner, you can maybe get away with doing something like an offlane Queen of Pain if you know Queen of Pain's going to have an okay-ish matchup. But I mean, looking at Johnny's Revenge Live, the only real good offlaner they have, I feel, is the Puck. Brewmaster does so. So it makes me think Puck's going offlane, unless Johnny's Revenge can maybe try and figure out what IAP are doing with their lanes, as you said. Figure out what their lanes are, and then adjust from there and tweak and move out in other ways. So getting those 5-man, like kind of early level 1, like not so much rotations, but move around the map, try and get some wards down to find out where your opponent's going to go is going to be probably a key thing for both the two teams.
And it's very apparent both these teams know that this is a very important match, not looking to experiment at all with this new patch too much. They want to keep with the old tried and true. Sand King is going to be the last pickup here for Execration side to really round out the rest of this draft. So nothing too crazy as far as drafting goes for this one. Nothing like flashy and fancy like we saw last game. This is the real deal, and we're going to hop into the game right now, and I'll lead things off. Introductions on your Radiant side. IAP, also known as Execration, the Filipino crew, really want to bring it back to the homeland here, being able to move into Kiev if they win this matchup. If they don't, we're going to have some tiebreakers. Starting out here on the bottom lane, it's going to be Emma Stone playing your support Sand King. Just behind, we got Fox playing your Viper. We got Kimo playing, or Kim playing your Skywrath Mage. Bison's going to be playing your Queen of Pain. And finally, heading up towards that off lane, it's Iwi, or EWE, playing your Faceless Void.
Well, for the Dire side, it's the mostly Malaysian squad, although a bit of a mixed bag here. We're going to see in the safe lane Brewmaster, Johnny, the Singaporean player on the Brewmaster. Sharky going to be playing the Venomancer in a support role. Winter going to be on the Wisp. He's headed mid lane with Chibix on the Tiny. Gets some good old Wisp Tiny. And then finally that puts Link onto the off lane Puck on the Dire side. Well, the big thing that stands out to me is Wisp and Tiny both rushing bottles. That normally you see these Wisp dual lane mid. One of the heroes goes for the bottle, like Tiny will get some items and Wisp rushes the bottle for the team. But this time around, it looks like they're both getting a bottle.
Yeah, well, you know, with 2 runes available, I would imagine they're going to try their damnness to control both of those rooms every 2-minute interval. So we'll see if they can go. Winner already scouting out the top one, wants to get a hold of it himself. Has Sharky hand in hand here to contest it, but it looks like it's going to be IAP to get the bottom one. The bottom is going to be the bounty. This means that top it's going to be an invis room. Sharky's going to take that one right back to the top lane here. And well, also, you know, to note, it was a recent change here on that bottle. It was increased by price up to 700. It's not a whole lot different when you're rushing bottle this hard, but, you know, it is a few extra gold, maybe an extra last hit you have to get in before you can actually secure that bottle.
Well, some early dewarding happening from both teams. Sharky dewards the offlane Observer Ward in the trees, and it looks like, I think, Uwe on the Void got the deward in the lane, because I only see one Dire Observer Ward on the playing field, so it looks like he did get a nice little D-ward off on the important lane ward there. So that's going to help him out a lot up top. He's up against the dual lane, and he should be able to get pretty much free XP. Venomancer and Brewmaster can't zone him out too well. I mean, Veno can, but Void's very elusive. And he's just going to be looking to use Fog and get the most out of this lane by just being as sneaky as possible.
And we are going to have a bit of a pause here as the last hits go underway. Johnny feeling like there's just a little bit of a lag issue, feeling about 215 as far as ping goes, so wants to wait it out a bit. Maybe I'll tab, make sure he's got nothing running simultaneously here, and we are going to get the go underway. And already Winter lingering nearby, looking to get some early stacks in, I would imagine, here to be able to farm up later with the Tiny. So you're very, you know, cookie cutter, traditional kind of go at it as far as Wisp Tony's concerned. And then I imagine he's going to venture towards that rune area. So Bison knows this is happening, I would imagine, wants to add the early pressure to Tiny as much as possible, putting in the Shadow Strike, getting some right clicks in, but has to be cautious because once this Wisp does get that bottle, it can be very deceptive as far as, you know, Tiny rather being very low life. He can jump in quickly, promptly heal him up and deal a burst damage.
Yeah. Problem is right now, Winter only level 1, can't heal him up with the bottle until he gets that point in the overcharge. And, well, it's going to, unless he wants to walk forward and tank some damage on the creep wave. But yeah, it's a bit hard. Tiny already very low in this mid lane, seeing on 500 gold. And it looks like quick pause, going to be some internet ISP swapping around maybe on the Johnny's Revenge side. But As you can see, as we've mentioned, very important game for both these two teams, and this is serious business. I mean, I'm excited for this game so much. Like just the thought that a team like IAP.XCTN, who've been working so hard, playing so many SEA tournaments, yet to have a breakthrough, could be going to Kiev is really exciting. And Johnny's Revenge, similar story. They're a team who have been kind of nipping at Titan's heels in the Malaysian scene, been doing really well. Haven't had a big result, but could theoretically be a contender to go to Kiev as well. Like it's always been about Titan when it comes to the Southeast Asian scene, but for once, it's about these two teams.
Yeah, and obviously, try my best to remember my C Dota here. I would imagine, Johnny, the player who had been formerly Rattlesnake, then had moved over to be a part of Aero Gaming, and now being a part of this squad, just kind of always being a part of those teams that kind of make it to the big time somewhat, but don't really perform as well as you'd like. So, if he does continue down that path, he could make it to Starladder, but I hope the curse doesn't continue and he doesn't really perform that well at the actual LAN. Don't mean to jinx him on that one there, but yeah, I agree as well. It would be amazing to see, this Filipino squad be able to make it to that pinnacle point. So, this is a big deal kind of a game. They are showing a lot of respect. They want to make sure that everyone gets the appropriate ping, wants to make it as fair as possible because it is such an important matchup.
Yeah, so we'll get everything underway. Both teams being very play. These guys are all good friends. Chemo's one of those guys who you're talking about being Winter. He's like he's very much like Winter, except like a Filipino version where he's a bit more over the top and friendly. And these guys are all very good friends. Have been playing together since long ago in the Dota 1 days, so they have a lot of respect for each other. And even though they want to be the team going to Kiev, they'll definitely be showing all the fair play that should be shown in a game like this.
Oh, of course. I did want to give a quick shout out here to the Radiant side courier. It's going to be Boy Hubo here, the one and only courier on the Naked Greevil here. Not the most aesthetically pleasing courier. I myself have also fancied a Naked, Greevil just to really irritate my team. Now with the courier morph, that can change, but I'm one to always lock it in place.
That's such a chemo thing, like to have such a ridiculous courier with some. I don't know what the name is. The one and only courier foe. I think it got cut off.
Yeah, I'm getting a little excessive with your name description here, but it is Puck who's going to have a reconnect here as they do swap lines here to make sure they get the most ideal ping as possible. But I guess we can go into a little more strategy here. Now that we do see the laning setups that are going to be before us here, we'll try to look over, favorites as far as it goes. It is Void here in his solo offlane role we've seen for a long period of time. Very successful in the hands of players like your Universe on EG. Even before that, I even saw Mike in his hands like running it. And he has the escape mechanism with that time walk to avoid any sort of incoming danger. Maybe he'll go with the early backtrack to have a little extra sustain in the lane. He already has the stout shield. Could consider putting that into a poor man's shield if he feels like he's getting harassed heavily, which definitely could come from a Venomancer looking to really lay it in heavy here. And, I mean, how do you personally feel? Faceless Void, you're put in the lane, you're going to be going against a Brewmaster and a Venomancer. Are you nervous at all about Venomancer really laying it on thick here?
I don't think so. I think if Void plays it smart, I like what he's doing. Like level 1, he can kind of go at Sharky and give him some hits. He's got Stout Shield on the Void, but once Sharky gets a level or two, that's when the Void's going to just have to play a bit more elusive, use the trees, use the fog, and try and leech XP more than anything. If he can get a couple last hits in the first few minutes, it's huge because it means he gets boots, maybe a poor man's shield, and it helps his laning stage a ton. If he doesn't get those last hits, that's when he just has to sit back and leech XP. So I think either way, Void does all right in the offlane. As far as offlaners go, I think I'm a bit more worried about the Puck, who is in a rough matchup. Viper, great laning hero, and Skywrath Mage, the Ancient Seal, a great way of dealing with a Puck. So it's not going to be a fun time for Ling in this offlane on the Puck.
Well, we'll have to see, though. I mean, they would have to be aware that it is going to be Wisp and Tiny hand in hand in this mid lane. We might not see a whole lot of early movement coming out from your Dire side. So with that, maybe they take advantage. Skywrath might consider moving around a bit, though he doesn't have an early smoke. But also the same could be said for Sand King, who does have a smoke. Yes. So they could look to move around pretty heavily, add the extra pressure. If they can get a quick takedown on this mid lane, maybe on the Wisp, on Winter, this could leave things very, very tricky for the Tiny, and he might fall behind very quickly to a Queen of Pain. That allows Queen of Pain to accelerate forward, and next thing you know, you see Bison running around the map, looking to burst down the whole opponent's team, and it's going to be really a lot of pressure here on JR to try to recover.
Yeah, I think you're pretty spot on there. I think the game plan for IAP as far as movement is going to be just that. Smoke mid with Sand King and Skywrath, and then Sand King's going to spend pretty much most of the first 10 minutes farming the jungle. But that's the problem for Johnny's Revenge is they don't know when that Sand King gank is coming because Sand King is always missing off the map. He's always in fog right now he's doing pulls. Once he hits level 3, he can start stacking big camps and using the sandstorm to farm, and that's where they don't know when that smoke gank mid's coming, and it's going to come probably in the first 5 minutes of the game. And if you can get a kill, even if it's just the Wisp, that does so much for Bison on this Queen of Pain to help him snowball. So I think that's really solid decision for IAP to go for an early smoke gank, mixed in with Sand King just trying to be greedy. I think he's going to be really greedy with his jungle farm because Skywrath alone can zone out Ling on the puck very effectively.
I'm trying my best during this pause to show as much cool cinematic showcase kind of a shots as possible.
Oh yeah.
During that time, Winter
explore the new map.
Yeah, absolutely. Just really make as much aesthetically pleasing things as possible for the stream while we're waiting this pause. But here we go, underway here. Skywrath Mage, I mean, like you said, putting on some really early harassment here on the puck, so that really pushes him back quite a bit right now. But as far as CS goes, it is, Queen of Pain well in the front right now, 7-2, Tiny 6-2, hanging there toe-to-toe with him right now. And there you go. You got your winter bottle all set up and ready to go. And we got about, 15 seconds. We're going to see our potential first rune battle here. Skywrath Mage already mingling his way towards the bottom one. And it is going to be Bison going to the top. So what I thought was going to be them being able to have some early rune control. And look at this. Filipino side, they got both runes covered already. They're holding strong. They're like, hey, don't even think about coming close. I got the bounty rune here at the top. Bottom is going to be the illusion picked up from Kim. And, well, he sends those illusions towards the mid and, well, actually gets
top lane. Sharky may be dead. This boy's got first blood.
Void in the off lane manages to catch up the Venomancer with a very nice lockdown. And Johnny, unfortunately, can't really help out his ally in need. So, first strike.
I don't know what Sharky's doing there. He was going crazy a bit.
You can't afford to hand over a first blood like that in such an important match. So, and for a Void too, who should be not having the easiest time. You want to punish this Void, not allow him to have too much going here. But here we go. Mid lane, looking to come in is that Sand King. Oh, he gets the Burrow Strike. It catches here on Chivix, and Chivix going to be saved out from Winter, trying to heal him up as quickly as possible, but he does make a swift retreat. So, thank goodness for Winter to be right there and helps out his ally in need. But meanwhile, top lane, they're looking to go for revenge here on Iwi here. He does not have mana for the Time Walk. It's going to take one more right click, and they get it. Oh, so just when you think there's a big advantage for the off lane Void, Johnny grabs one right back.
Yeah, big revenge kill there. That makes a big difference in this offlane. So you give him the first blood, but getting the kill back, I think it doesn't quite negate it, but it does help out a lot because it's Johnny getting the kill. He didn't die as well, so at the end of the day, Johnny's still been free farming and he has a kill on top of it.
Oh!
It's just the
Sorry, mid lane. They almost actually got the Queen of Pain. Winter got some really
close.
nice spirit balls off, and then it looked like she was about to get away, but Chivix just tossed Winter in there, and it was just so close to being able to take him down. And, well, he promptly blinks over, and without a bottle, she's stuck. She is stuck in these trees until she has the mana to get out, which is still 15 away. This is plenty of time here for the mid lane to figure things out, and she's just kind of waiting it out a bit, and with no bottle, might have to retreat. Yep, and will have to go all the way back to base. So this is a significant amount of time for Queen of Pain to be away from this mid lane.
Where did Queen of Pain's bottle go? Did it get stolen? It got stolen! What? Chipix has the bottle! I was like, wait, you're saying like with no bottle. I'm like, okay, is Queen of Pain's bottle growing? No, it got stolen. Chipix has the bottle of the Queen of Pain. That is just absolute catastrophe.
Oh no!
Bison.
I didn't even notice them grab it. I guess whilst the interaction was happening there in the top lane, it must have been a swift takeaway. Because as I jumped back, they were making a go here on Queen of Pain. She must have been maybe dropping it on the ground, and they pushed the high ground and quickly snagged it up. Because there might have been a deceiving moment when Tiny was very low, and she might have figured he was not in the lane. But they promptly jumped back with the aid of Winter. They just went up to the high ground and must have swiftly taken it from right beneath her. And then at that point, they just pulled the trigger on making the harassment, and oh man, this Queen of Pain, what looked like a bit of a grim moment there, now with the bottle not being in hand, this is devastating.
And we talked about like the ganks mid and try to get this Queen of Pain snowballing. Well, this Queen of Pain's going to need a lot of help now. Problem is, now that the Wisp Tiny have levels, if Wisp just sits back and tethers in with some heals from the bottle, Chipix can't really be ganked. He's also got an Invis rune, so I think Sand King, as much as you want to gank and help the Queen of Pain, Sand King's maybe just going to be better off farming. And he's got himself a triple stack in the medium camp. No Mud Golems coming his way, so I think Sand King's just going to have to farm it up. I think at this point you say, Queen of Pain, you're behind, but that's tough shit. Like, you've got to deal with it. We can't really help you right now.
No other way about saying it than tough shit. So it's going to be rough because, yeah, Sand King has got to get like a Blink Dagger as one of his priority objectives here to really be able to get that initiation under control. And, well, bottom, it looks like Tony here He's got an Invis rune. He sees a very, very flimsy Skywrath Mage. He'd love to be able to burst down rather quickly, but they do promptly step back. They notice that the Tiny's not in the mid lane anymore. It's Winter defend for himself here, trying to get some additional levels. The closer he gets to that level 6 and relocate, they can look
back
to...
bottom.
Uh-oh, back on bottom. They managed to move in on Fox. Fox ends up getting bursted down, and that invisibility ends up paying off very nicely for JR as they pick up another kill for themselves, pushing ahead 2 for 1. But with that on top of the bottle, it is looking like a very, very promising start here.
Yeah, that's a really nice little gank there. I think Viper, like, I got some treads, I'm nice and tanky, but he got tossed under the tower and brought down. So the two lanes which IAP, well, I guess mid lane, not the lane they should have won, but bottom lane should be going great.
Too bad.
Mid lane should be going decent, and those two lanes kind of both having big problems right now. It's the Void in the off lane who's doing the best, and he's meant to have the tough lane right now. Even though he did die once, he's still almost got his treads up. He's got level 5.5. He's close to level 6. Like, this is problematic for IAP.
Very much so, and hopefully they're able to shake it off for this one and being able to rally back right now. But times are troublesome right now for especially the Queen of Pain, who did have to buy a second bottle here and is now trying to make use of the bottle crowing here in this mid lane to bring it back. But that is just one step away from where you want to be, and I believe that opened up the opportunity for Tiny to get some early power treads in, and he's looking to build forward. He's got the magic wand complete and available to go when it comes towards this mid lane. He already got Johnny here, level 6 with that primal split and a blink dagger on Brew, as he's looking to maybe make something happen here in the mid lane. This is a tremendous amount of farm for this Brew this early into the game.
Yeah, that's where, like, they give up the first one to the Void, but Brew getting the revenge kill just accelerated his farm tremendously. And 7-minute blink dagger. This is kind of scary. He's going to be looking for kills. Unfortunately, like, Queen of Pain and Void both have escape mechanisms if he tries to go in with an ultimate. So, not the easiest to find kills.
Stun. Oh, Spirit Balls
very close.
Yeah, very close indeed. But one more ball might have done it from the bald winner. So, unable to get it done, but definitely just continuing on harassment. And again, Queen of Pain going to have to retreat all the way back to the base to just get those resources back in order. And this allows time for Tiny to kind of solo farm it up here in the mid lane, and allows Wisp to move back and stack once more. And this is going to be a wealth of farm potentially coming the way towards that Tiny and pushing him that much closer towards maybe an early Agnes.
Yeah, Brew rotated bottom, throws an ultimate to kill off the support Skywrath. So I guess deciding that the mid and the offlane Void can't be killed with a split, so he's happy just to use it for a support hero. Give Ling a bit of farm, a bit of space, and Ling is getting close to that level 6, so he started off having a rough time because being up against the Skywrath Mage, but he's recovered quite nicely.
And there we go. We get to see Tiny literally going toe-to-toe with these neutrals at the start of a fair amount of farm to come his way. He does have the bracer, so he's going to go for the drums first, which is, probably the smart choice, a little extra survivability and momentum. Would love to have that, but here we go mid lane. Sankey has that blink dagger, jumping forward, making it go on Winter here, and, well, without the aid of Tiny to be there to throw out a stun, he gets blown the hell up. And, well, Jing rotates in, but it's just too little too late. He did have Coil available here to maybe go for a counter initiation, but fortunately, the timing was just not right.
Yes, and that's good place from the Sankey. They're going to go in on the Queen of Pain mid. Dodges the avalanche, though.
Uh-oh, throw that fairy forward, and they're going to make it go, though. They're going to go in a hot pursuit. The blink's not going to be there. Nice silence to follow it up, but the Burrow Strike going to slow the roll here of Tiny, and that's just more than enough for the Queen of Pain to make her escape. So, quick reaction, convenience there for the Sand King to be there. And, well, Wisp makes his return, quickly revives up the Tiny a bit, and it looks like Johnny's going to make his return back to the top lane. Same with the Void.
Yeah, Sankin coming up big with the early blink dagger. He's got more net worth than the Queen of Pain, so someone has to create space right now, and with the Queen of Pain having the slow side, it's going to come in the form of Emma Stone on this Sand King. So Epicenter already leveled up and doesn't have the mana for it right now, but even without Epicenter, could just be looking to set up some plays with a Blink Burrow.
Yeah, but we're at that point in the game that we got a lot of level 6s underway. Even Void has his Chronosphere, so we're going to look at some fireworks getting ready to come out. Your Brewmaster ultimate as well. We already saw it make use there on the bottom lane, which, speaking of which, they did manage to secure that Tier 1 tower on the bottom lane, so this is overall net worth that is going to swing towards Execration's favor, which they would love to have. And touching base here with the Wisp Tiny combo, Wisp still level 4, you know, would love to get to that level 6 sooner than later, so Winter going to go hand in hand here into the jungle and maybe going to leech up some of that extra XP from those neutral camps. And meanwhile, top lane, though, jump in. Big Appy to follow up. They want to take down Johnny before he can get the Bruce split off, and with the Chronosphere, they do secure it. Very nice job, but a jump back coil. In the silence to follow up. Can they take down the Void? They can. Here comes Wisp Tony. They clean up another 2 for 1 in the end, as they do get the revenge, I guess, from Johnny Revenge. It works out pretty nicely.
Big turnaround there with the Tiny coming in as well. Tiny of all heroes, the one hero that JR really want to accelerate his farm, get him snowballing, and that little turnaround there goes a long way. I still think for IAP, killing the Brewmaster was the right idea. They just couldn't quite do it fast enough, and they had to kind of commit very deep under the tower, unfortunately. But they have had heroes farming elsewhere. Fox has been farming in the safe lane. I think he's got a mech completed now, which has been flown out. And with that, they can have a much better job of maybe actually defending this top tier 1. I don't know if JR are going to be ready for this.
That Viper would work nicely down the road against this Tiny, being that big melee hero to slow his roll a bit and really try to kind him about would definitely be very useful. But look at these wards trying to lay it in thick here on this tower here. It's going to get very low, and they might consider making a jump in when they go for the deny, and that might be the case. They jump forward, they get the clap, but he gets instantly silenced though, so he can't get the split off. But regardless, Skywrath Mage actually barely escapes. Jump forward, silence. There's your split to finally go out. Emma Stone trying to get away, goes into the woods right here, trying to get scouted out from Sharky with those wards, but still no one to fall just yet. Void comes in. He does not have the Chronosphere just yet and is forced to time walk away. So for heavy initiation from JR, they actually can't take anyone down.
0 for 0. Viper Mech really the saving grace there for the Radiant team, keeping the Skywrath as well as the Viper himself alive. And we saw there the mana cost change hurting Viper. He healed himself back up, but he didn't really have the mana to go back to the fight. He could hardly even sustain using poison attacks. So it's just a T1 tower that JR get in the end for a Brewmaster ultimate cooldown. So I think IAP will be not too worried about that, especially considering they were fighting with that Chronosphere.
I also, you know, I can't help but feel like the quick reaction from Skywrath Mage to get that seal off on Johnny. Once he jumped in, he just could not get the primal split off in an ideal time, and that could have been the big difference maker. They could end up losing 1 or 2, but mid lane they deny the tower and they're making it go on Chibix, and well, he ends up paying for that precious deny as IAP move on 4, Execration clean up another kill for themselves, and now we're back 4 to 5. And you know, it's nice to see a relatively even game as we get ready to approach the mid-game mark here. And you know, it's going to be a little extra pressure here. It looks like IAP feeling a lot more confident. They're going to move to scout on through. They're going to see this double stack, but they're not going to bother touching it just yet. Well, maybe Sand King.
Yeah, that was a big kill in the Tiny too. He's the top net worth hero, an 800 gold swing in total, according to the little team fight recap. So pretty important kill. And then guess what? You've got some space. Emma Stone goes into the enemy jungle, takes one of Tiny's stacks, and it's just a small little thing, but it's going to add up. And this is what Tiny really wants and needs to accelerate that farm to get the Ag Scepter up. So IAP making some plays happen, and they're ready to maybe fight and go again. They've got the Chronosphere, they've got the Epicenter, which they didn't have at that top tier 1 tower. So if Johnny's Revenge try and make any sort of another tower push or aggression, it could be met with some counterplays.
It's bottom lane they want to go. Orb in, they get the coil, relocate, and Bison Whelp. Yeah, he's going to get blown the hell up. And they're not going to be able to get away from that one. And JR do fire back just like that, and they're conveniently going to be able to segue, hopefully, into taking down this tier 1 tower. And a mild gold swing here for some spells expended. But meanwhile, they're making a jump back as they relocate back to the mid lane. It is IAP looking to jump right back in their face. Chibix retreats down to the southeast corner here to get away, and they do. So they end up trading 1 for 0. Unfortunately, though, for Execration, they couldn't capitalize on the retreat back from that Wisp Tiny. And still adding pressure here on the bottom tower. That glyph has already been used, and they should be able to bring it down.
Yeah, big wins for JR. I think IAP were really counting on getting those kills when they relocated back in. They had the numbers, they just didn't have the damage and the lockdown. So IAP gonna miss out an opportunity, lose a tower, and now I've got Void at top lane with some backup, and maybe thinking they can use a Chronosphere to get some kills and maybe a tower of their own. Void's gone in. He's actually time walked behind the tower. Sharky's not going to realize this until too late.
They know. They saw the wards go down, and they knew Venomancer was nearby, and they jump in. They make the gamble, and it might pay off here. They get the Chronosphere drop. Sharky can't do anything about it, and that's just great game sense right there from IAP. Now, they didn't know that other people were going to be there, so they just kind of jumped in there hoping that they were only going to find a Venomancer, and they sure did. So now they're going to follow it up with a good tier 1 takedown here. Glyph They don't pop the glyph. Oh,
Dyer's
man.
top tower
Bit of a
has
small
fallen.
mistake. I mean, I guess regardless it would have fallen anyways, but you should probably just get in the habit of popping a glyph every tier 1.
Yeah, it's definitely just a habit thing, and I mean, right now they're not in the habit, so it's kind of why it's happening. But I think, yeah you got to get used to just the new change and just spamming that glyph. It stalls them for 3 to 5 seconds, but it also means maybe they missed the last hit, because if you glyph the tower and it's at 10 HP, it's hard to time the last hit with the creep wave there, so they could very likely miss a last hit in the tower.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best strategy for using that glyph on tier 1s, is to try and mess up your opponent's last hits.
Yep, so JR got to be able to get used to that as the patch does roll in. Blink strike forward. They want the puck, and wow, he gets blown the hell up with that Mystic Flare to follow up, and very nice quick burst damage coming out from Execration there to take down the puck. And man, back and forth we go, God. 6 and 6. This is a really close game, and what could eventually turn into a good nail biter.
Yeah, I think IAP, they're making really risky ganks. First, that gank at the top tier 1 tower, which could have very easily been turned around. And that one there, like, they were blinking in. Sure, Puck couldn't turn that around, but if there's a Bruma or Tiny in range, Tiny's actually gone Blink Dagger himself, so he could easily counter-initiate with a Blink Avalanche at this point in the game. So I think IAP felt a little under pressure to make these big risky plays, but they've paid off, and we're finding ourselves in a pretty much dead-even game. It was close before those ganks, but I feel IAP are in a much stronger position with kills on those two heroes. Not to mention the tier 1 tower at top lane, just giving them a bit of extra pocket money to spend as well.
And yeah, I can't help but notice when you make the call out, the Blink Dagger on Tiny, that is a bit unusual. Most of them like to bulldoze forward and getting maybe an Aghanim Center, but here we go. We got a Smoke Gank happening here. It's going to be popped. They jump forward. They're looking to go for Skywrath Mage. They followed up with a very nice Primal Split. The Silence is going to definitely secure it as he can't get away, but they want more. They're moving forward. They're going for Fox right now. Viper. Big boy, as they can try to take him down. The Chronosphere catches on him. One brew still there to try to do the damage. There's your coil follow-up, and Fox. It's a sweaty workout to try to take him down, but they eventually get it done. Sharky ends up falling, though, shortly after. Iwi going toe-to-toe. Johnny in big trouble. The Sandstorm able to help secure it, and Iwi barely escapes. 2 life. Oh! Ends up falling, and though Sharky falls from the grave, he gets a double kill. Very nice stuff, but it ends up being a 2-for-3 trade advantage for Radiant.
One Brewmaster Bear was caught outside the Chronosphere and got the Yules on the Void, but even so, they still managed to clean up. The Void got off a good Chronosphere, didn't kill anyone inside of it, but when the backup came, JR just started to fall, and they didn't really have the ability to sustain that fight, because the relocate duration was blowing during the Chronosphere. So Wiz Tiny was suddenly taken away from the fight, and the remaining 3 heroes were just kind of left there to fall, to die. And IAP, they capitalized with a 3-for-2 trade. It's still not. I wouldn't say it was a huge victory for them, because Tiny was still got a kill out of it and is going back to farming. And there's another kill. That's a killing spree streak. That's a good chunk of gold, I imagine, that kill.
Yep. He went about
from
like 12 to 1,300 to up to nearly 2K. So it just goes to show the bounty system will affect.
He got 550, Queen of Pain losing 329. So, yeah. Nice little kill there coming out for Tiny.
Puts him a little bit closer to getting a hold of that Aghanim Scepter, which then things start get a bit scary. And what I was going to say about that previous team fight there at the bottom was it just goes to show that even though Void was nerfed down a bit, he still can just utilize a Chronosphere like no one else. That just really slowed the roll there of JR from getting a lot more damage done. So Void still very much utilized here, especially into the hands of IAP, so they're trying to make use of it. He's farming up right now in the top lane. He's got his Mask of Madness complete. Gloves of Haste in hand. I don't know if this is going to be a late Midas or maybe he's just going to go for an early Maelstrom.
Even after the select extra cost on Maelstrom, I think it still just synergizes so well with the Mask of Madness and the Chronosphere. And being magic damage as well, it's just good, reliable damage in a Chronosphere. You don't have to worry about the armor as much and other things. So I like the Maelstrom. I think Maelstrom into BKB will be good this game. He's definitely going to need a BKB to deal with stuff like the Yules last fight, Puck catching him with a Blink Silence, the Tiny combo. Definitely a BKB game, but he probably feels he's not going to do any damage with straight BKB and wants to get the Maelstrom first.
Oh, bottom lane, we might see a jump in, and we do. Oh, they can't quite get it. The combo goes off, but Winter's just not there in time to hit it with the one extra auto attack or maybe the Spirit Ball to really seal the deal on that Queen of Pain fall. So she does make her escape, and they're forced to step back, and they can't walk away with the kill. But IAP quickly rotate down here to the south, and It's good on, you know, JR not to pursue, as it would have been troublesome mid lane, though. They're making it go. Sharky with a TP, able to get away from the incoming damage from Fox. Fox, oh, nice jump away coming out from Puck, but here comes the relocate. They want to take down Fox, but the jump in from EWE gets a very nice chrono. The Sonic Scream to fly out. Winter goes down. Epicenter to follow. Double kill for the Queen of Pain. Johnny trying to retreat away. He's ancient sealed up, and they already lose 3 casualties. A big counter initiation coming out from IAP.
Oh, it's a huge team fight. This Void has been in the right place at the right time in so many of these engagements with big chronospheres. He now hits level 13. He's not particularly farm, but he's making the plays happen just with great chronospheres placements, and he's showing that this hero just needs levels, and to be in a fight with a chronosphere, he doesn't have to have all these big items, and it's still very strong, even in 6.82. That was just a great turnaround. What looked like possibly a sticky situation when the relocate came got turned around by IAP fantastically.
And you can see by the gold change, 1,500 towards IAP's favor, minus 927 on JR's side, something you don't want to be dealing with. About 20 minutes in, we get ready to approach that mid game when you're really hoping that your Wisp Tony can get some significant relocate ganks in. It's just proving to be that much more troublesome with that Void on the other team. And you know, some of these targets are just becoming so elusive. Even like Sand King and his Burrow Strike Sandstorm hold to get a hold of. We already seen how Queen of Pain can get away from incoming Doom. So they're proving to be quite a slippery group here on the Radiant side. As JR, we're hoping to get a lot more pickoffs happening here with your Puck, with your Wisp Tony, and even the Brew with his Blink Dagger trying to jump in and get a hold of something. And, you know, speaking of which, Brew working towards his own Agnum Scepter. He's got his point booster acquired here, but looks like they might turn some attention here on the mid lane from both teams here. So as we wait for some of the cooldowns to come off, Void now has his chrono available here, and I know we don't have a Dream Coil available. This and a Primal Split. We could look at another fight potentially breaking out as they do smoke up and shift towards the bottom.
Yeah, looks like they want to meet up with the Wisp. Actually, maybe going to go for a loop around and try and fight mid. They have this great observer, so they see everyone on the other side of the river.
Very nice jump in. They're looking to immediately bring down the Skywrath, and they do so. Sand King jumps away. Wisp Tony relocate, but once again, the chrono catches on nearly all of them here, and Winter almost bursted down, and now Void might get blown up. Winter goes down. They do end up taking the Void, 2 for 1 thus far. Queen of Pain trying to get away from the Bears right now. Fox on pursuit to try to help out and aid. Viper Strike keeps Tony very low. Toss forward and the clap to follow. Very nice synergy play right there. Chibix picks up a nice double kill for himself. And Fox, the only lone survivor, runs right into Sharky, a fellow poisoned fiend, trying to go toe-to-toe with all the extra poison damage. Slowing their roll for now. Burrow Strike to fly out from the Sand King, making it go in Sharky. There's your epicenter to be pulled out to take down the Venomancer support.
Well, it cost the buyback from Sand King. I think it does potentially save Fox's life, so worth it in the end there. But the team fight victory, Johnny's Revenge, very much in their favor there. The Sand King epicenter just wasn't up to combine with the Chronosphere. Like you caught everyone in it. Winter survived just long enough. He did end up dying to the Queen of Pain Scream, but the fact that Void didn't kill him in the Chronosphere meant that the Void had to chase that a little bit further and ends up dying himself. So close call for IAP, but they just didn't quite have the sustainability. And now Chibix, he's got his Ag Scepter. He's going to start hitting really hard with the support of this Wisp.
He got that big old tree in his hand right now, really to lay it home right now like a baseball bat with that extra damage and splash. As you see, his illusions even do a little bit of damage here on the Sand King, looking to scurry him back. But this adds a whole lot of extra siege damage to these towers, and things can begin to get a bit scary here. For IP, jump in, go for the combo, but the Burrow Strike able to shift away as he doesn't get the toss off, unfortunately, due to that bit of a sandstorm period.
Radiant's
So not quite lucky enough to get a single pick off right there, and he will have to waddle back. But man, this game has proven to be quite entertaining, if I say so. Just when you think one team is getting quite a big, significant team fight, we saw Void pretty much back-to-back fights pull off fantastic Chronospheres, and then that previous one, JR, fire back with their own ammunition. So yeah, fantastic game to round out the back end of a group stage for the C and Starladder Season 10.
Yeah, and there's one thing, I mean, even if JR fall behind, you can never count out a Wisp Tiny team. There's so much comeback potential. You win one fight, even when you're behind 10, 15k gold, suddenly you're taking Raxes, and that's something that Winter knows better than anyone, having experienced that back at TI2 when Orange Esports fell at the hands of eHome's Wisp Tiny. So IAP, got to be very careful about losing a bad team fight against a Wisp Tiny, because that's when you lose Raxes incredibly fast.
Absolutely. And it looks like Winter will be the mech holder for his team, looking to build closer to that. Might actually have a complete, nope, just a recipe away, it would appear, as him and Tony shift up here to the top lane and look to bring down a couple of creeps. And early rotation going to come in from that Queen of Pain. Has the Sonic Scream available here, or Sonic Wave rather, and we also got Avoid Chrono, and they're smoked up. They're waiting to see if they want to push forward, but that is not what Wisp and Tiny are all about. They go promptly back, and they're going to continue to farm out the jungle. So, you know, IAP are not going to be so lucky in catching anyone. This is a bit of time wasted for them, and unfortunately, they're not going to see anything.
Yeah, JR want to start fights with the Brewmaster. I don't think they want to go just relocate. They're not going to look to start a fight with a relocate.
But they're creeping forward. The smokes now pop. They see that. Jump in. They're going for Winter. They throw out the stun to try to slow the Void. Void's actually pretty low, but they do get Winter down. Unfortunately, Chibix lingers around too long. Doesn't suspect the Sand King to jump in. Oh, Sonic Wave's going to actually miss the mark, but it doesn't matter. They end up still bringing down Tiny. So still a very successful pick-off, catching out both the Wisp and Tiny combo. I thought they were going to be able to get away from any sort of incoming gank, but they were just lingering around a little too long. The smoke pops, and Void, for the second time I've seen this game, just kind of makes the jump-in attempt and does catch out what he wants.
Yeah, he only hits one with that Chronosphere and to support Wisp, but it still sets up everything that follows there. And well, for IAP, they're looking to follow it up with a Tier 2 tower now if they can get this, but I think they'll be a bit wary. I mean, even a potential tiny buyback relocating could just completely wipe them to pieces, so there's no reason to overextend going for a T2 tower at this stage when they haven't got the best damage to bring it down.
Yep. For now, it's what they got seems to be working for them. If they need to smoke up and just get those quick pickoffs, step back, wait, just continue to farm it up a bit and try to press your luck later on. But I'm saying that, and then I'm looking at the draft right now, and especially on the side of IAP, I mean, I'm seeing a couple of decent semi-carries. Void can definitely bring the pain, but I don't think he can really hold a candle to a very farmed Tiny.
They haven't got like the hard late game carries, but like I would say what they've got is like answers to JR's lineup. Like they've got the Viper Strike to deal with the Tiny's damage output in a team fight. They've got the Chronosphere to lock some of these heroes down and set up a ton of damage output from Skywrath, Queen of Pain, and these other heroes. So even though they've got no true late game carry, I think they still hold up pretty well in the late game. Because I would say heroes like Brewmaster kind of.
Wow. They saw Skywrath Mage, and then I saw Skywrath Mage die. It was just that quick. So they see him, they jump in, they get what they want, and they leave. It was just a quick hit, and we're all done. So, but
I guess a little warding mission. Yeah, he got the ward down near Roshan, but yeah, pays for it with his life.
Much worth, I guess. So, but continuing on with talking about the Faceless Void and how valuable that Chrono is going to be for him, he does not have BKB. So, Puck.
Epicenter bottom.
Oh, man, they're jumping in. They're making a go here on Johnny. Johnny silenced up. Can't get off the split yet, so he knows it's going to end. He can't get it off. The silence is just too long, but the relocate as looks like they jump on in, and they do get 1-for-1 trade at the end of it for now, but action still continues. Bison looking to go on Wisp, but they come in from Chibix. Oh, Winter scouts out, or sorry, not Winter, but the Puck scouts out, but they don't really have anything to stop him from TPing away. So Queen of Pain makes his escape, jump in, Chrono, Chibix under the gun right now is Iwi. Oh, the classic combo here, but he's actually pretty hefty here. Does survive the big 1-2 punch. Arcane Bolt, jump back stun, doesn't catch unfortunately. Sharky jumps in, pulls out the Poison Nova. They can't catch up with Tiny, who side blinks off TP. Void jumps forward, can't catch him out, and well, it was a bit of a hot mess, but still only a 1-for-1 at the end of it.
So does Craggy no longer works now works in Chronosphere? Is that how it's meant to work with the new passives?
I would imagine so. It's a
Because
passive.
he was getting no Craggy procs. He got a Craggy proc like right at the end of the Chronosphere, but it looked like it was after the Chronosphere though. Quickly put middle lane though.
Man.
Fox is gonna get jumped.
Yeah, they're going for Fox right now. He has mech. He pulls it out right there to survive a little bit longer. Nice Sonic Wave comes out, but how much is it going to help out? Brew gets out his split. They do take down Fox. One casualty as they pursue forward. Oh, Sand King gets comboed up. Jumping coming out from Yui, but he has no Chronosphere. He's just going in to say, I'm here, I want to fight, but he might be gone a little too far and gets caught out. Boulder Smash, Poison to follow here. Very slowed up, and he's going to fall as well. Bit of a misplay here for him to jump in, and now it's going to be a Tier 1. This is a huge momentum boost right now for JR.
This is the Wisp Tiny. It's maybe not just a Tier 1. They're going to go for this Tier 2. Chibix with the Aghanim Scepter, Yasha as well. There's a second glyph as the Tier 1 tower did just go down, but Tier 2 still got no real way to defend this one. But top lane, I like what Queen of Pain's doing. Queen of Pain's made a huge comeback since the bad start, losing the bottle and gets a Tier 2 top towers, finding kills across the board, and this has been a really impressive play from Queen of Pain, considering this Queen of Pain was like less net worth than the Sand King at like 10 minutes in. So great comeback.
yeah, utilizing the map to best her ability and her own mobility to try to get around and do a little bit of side pushing, build up that farm for herself after such an early deficit. But man, we saw one big team fight there in the mid lane, and that's just the problem when you're going against the Tiny, especially with Agnums. You lose 2 towers at the back end of it, given that the first tower was already relatively low to begin with, but huge gold swing still going their way at what started as a peak of near 5K advantage for your Radiant side is now back square even here for JR. So
Bottom lane.
nice stuff, but here we go. Bottom lane. Oh, Bison. Very, very slippery.
Use the Yules to get out of the Orchid here. So big item pickup for Puck, actually. Being able to solo push lanes without dying to an Orchid can change Johnny's Revenge just overall gameplay quite a bit. Having a hero who can solo push lanes is pretty important at this stage. You don't want to be getting solo killed when you do that, and that's where the Yules can really help out.
Not even just there, but if she lingers on the outside of a Faceless Void Chrono, with him without a BKB yet, he can just kind of throw him up in the air, and you know, it will definitely aid in that mark the same way the Brewmaster split would aid with that. Now they're jumping in, they get the silence on Faceless Void, Brewmaster splits it up, they sidestep the Mystic Flare, and they quickly burst him down with that relocate in coming out, and they just take down 2 big cores taken down right there, but still they continue to fight. Oh, Skywrath Mage just unfortunately left at the end of that one, and that's a quick 3-man takedown for nothing, and this is pretty much the biggest momentum for one team thus far in the game, and with that said, they just shift themselves into the very tiny Roche pit and go right for the big one.
Oh, and Sanking's being found.
Oh no, they throw him up to the high ground. Burrow strike out, but with the coil already attached, there's really nowhere to go. And now they're going to get things going, and well, Venomancer has a TP, thankfully, but he's stuck on the high ground.
This is a funny little spot. 1 or 2 of my games I played on the new patch, I've been up here like during a Roshan, and like my teammates would be taking Roshan, and I'd sit on this cliff where no one really knows you're up there. It's actually a really kind of deceptively strong position to be in to defend Roshan.
Yeah, but they don't really need it, as they're not going to get any sort of contention. They take it down. Aegis acquires, or Tiny acquires the Aegis, and well, they're going to just continue to accelerate their farm that much further. 23-18 your score, but man, the graph just dramatically plummets. It was 5K towards one side, now 5K towards the other, but can't help but feel like with the new bounty system in play, you really just never know how a game can end up going, where if this was the previous patch, I'd say, well, JR definitely are looking really good at taking this game home at this point with the momentum they have, but you really never know at this point. You get off a very good Chronosphere, and you line everything up with a good epi and a sonic wave, and you could take the game back just like that. So definitely something to look out for.
The Void Chronosphere is going to be the key thing in all these fights, and that's where last fight JR like, wait, this Void doesn't have BKB. Let's jump him, burst him down before he Chronospheres, and we just win the fight off of that. And sure, IAP could maybe try and get an epicenter off, but a level 2 epicenter does a decent amount of damage. But Johnny's Revenge, they've got mech. I think there was a pipe purchased as well. Maybe, no, that was the Viper pipe. But even just with the mech to deal with the epicenter damage, if there's no Chronosphere, you're maybe losing 1 or 2 of your squishy supports, but you're winning the team fight by killing the Void from the get-go and then following it up with some fairly straightforward kills on Skywrath, Viper, and these heroes that don't have escape mechanisms.
I feel like JR have just really thought this whole thing out from the start. I mean, you saw the Void picked up relatively early, then they grabbed the Tiny, and if it is so that the Craggy persists through it, I mean, it seems like they're pretty confident in having them in the middle of a Chronosphere if things get hairy, especially down the road. You got your Puck, who has the Yules, and Brewmaster has his own throw-up. You got Venomancer now with a Crimson Guard. That's definitely going to help out, as well as the right-click damage. So I feel like as long as Johnny's Revenge, if they put up proper positioning, they don't get all caught out with the Chronosphere, there always will be someone there on the outside to assist. Now jump in. They're making it go. Clap not going to catch it on Faceless Void. Burrow Strike's going to slow their roll in the meantime. Relocate in, but he doesn't have a Tiny with him. He leaves Tiny up in the top lane to go for that tier 2 and take it down very, very quickly. So probably intentional there, as Wisp just wanted to come to their aid. No one taken down just yet, but they make a move here onto Puck, but Puck is a very slippery critter to try to take down, so they're going to shuffle back here. They get a silence off on this Sand King, trying to slowly get away, and that's a gem on the deck. Oh, Chibix, killing spree for him. They take down 2, says Skywrath falls. Fox desperately trying to get into the base, but can't escape the coil. He falls 3. Sonic wave forward, but still JR persists. Now they put their attention onto the tier 3. Fortification popped up, but how long is it going to help? Bison bursted down. Oh no. The Filipino dream to move onto the land, and no buyback available. It looks like tiebreakers are slowly becoming a reality here as JR look absolutely dominating here in the back end of this mid-game period. And this could be 2 sets of racks for the second game straight, quickly taken down. Oh no.
Well, Titan is sitting at home thinking they're lucky stars right now that they are still in it with a shot to go to Kiev. As are these two teams, Johnny's Revenge up 4 Raxes. No GG called just yet. IAP will probably fight to the bitter end, but you're against a Whis Tiny, down 4 Raxes, 5.3k gold on the Tiny all of a sudden. There is still that big comeback potential.
I don't know.
But it's so unlikely. That
last period, I felt like there was comeback potential, but with that, I don't know. It's just rough. You even have the period of just a relocate to the bottom lane to swiftly take down a last set of racks, and with this Tiny having that man